We're kicking off a brand new chapter of the podcast with a special 21-day series called From Purpose to Impact. I'm celebrating by giving back to listeners who are ready to take the next step. If you've been feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure of how to move forward in your online business, I want to hear from you. Simply go to youronlinebusinessmentor.com and tell me what's been holding you back. Or ask a question you'd love for me to answer on the show, and you'll be entered in a special listener giveaway for access to programs designed to support you in your journey. I can't wait to help you get unstuck and moving forward. Welcome to day 6 of our 21-day series, From Purpose to Impact. Yesterday, I shared how I launched my first offer before it was built. And today, I want to take you behind the scenes of what actually happened after that first launch. I'm going to share real numbers. It's never to brag and it's never to make it about the money. But I know when I was a new business owner, I wanted to know the numbers. I wanted to know what was realistic by a real person, not just what was possible. You see those ads on Facebook. I made $1 million in 2 years. It's really hard to trust that kind of marketing. I appreciate when people share what they actually make, not just the revenue, but what were their expenses? What's that profit margin? Were they running ads? And so let's talk about all those things. So my first launch at the end of March 2020 generated around 10K. It was completely organic, no ad spend, but there was something that most people don't talk about. What did I earn the following 2 months after that launch? I didn't make even $500 in April or May. Why? Because I was delivering the program I had promised. I had launched, I had 95 students, and I focused on serving them. And I remember thinking, okay, so now what? Right? Like, this is where most entrepreneurs start to panic. But the best decision I made was this. I relaunched the same program 3 months later. So in July of that year, I increased the price of my program, the Digital Clutter Cure, from $97 to $247. And I duplicated the same 5-day challenge model that I had done in March. I tweaked the messaging, refined some of the content, and opened the doors again. That second launch generated another $10,000. Still organic, no ad spend. And even though the price was higher with fewer students, it generated the same amount of revenue. But that second launch was 10 times easier than the first one. The course was already built. All I had to do was show up live for weekly Q&A and coaching. And that is the power of launching the same offer again quickly. That's how momentum compounds, because you're not starting from scratch. So because of those 2 launches close together, something else happened. In August, I generated over 9K in revenue, but I was not running another cohort. I was not launching again. So where did that money come from? Why was it so much higher than the $200 and $400 I had made in the months after my first launch? $4,200 of that came from one-on-one coaching, and around $4,700, $4,800 came from a paid workshop. Why were those both so successful? Because the 2 cohort launches that I had done previously built trust and relationships. My students said, you know what? I love this program so much that I want to work with Lydia more closely. So I decided to offer single session coaching and 3-session packages, and people bought. That is one of the hidden values of doing a cohort style experience rather than a DIY evergreen course. Cohorts build depth, not just revenue. So let me tell you about the workshop. From listening to students in those first 2 cohorts, I realized something. A lot of Mac users that I was working with did not know how to optimize the basic benefits of their Mac. So I did a few posts on my personal Facebook and on various social platforms that said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you're using all of the benefits of your Mac? Literally dozens and dozens of responses, most of the people saying 2, 3, 5, with a few people saying 8 to 10. So I opened the doors to a live 3-session workshop called Maximize Your Mac. I charged $97. I showed up live on Zoom 3 times, and that first round generated almost $5,000. I didn't overthink it. I didn't plan it for 6 months. I responded to a need I saw in real time. That workshop later became an evergreen product and generated much more revenue over the years. It is outdated, so I no longer offer it, but what I learned from it was invaluable. Launching teaches you what to build next. I would have never known there was this need until I launched my program and built relationships with those in my cohorts. So then in October of that year, I launched the Digital Clutter Cure a third time. That launch generated over $12,000, and I did test with a small amount of ads, around $500. But I was also building my audience. So here's the big picture of the first 10 months of my business. From March to December of 2020, I ended up generating just under $64,000 in revenue. My expenses were a little over 28K, which meant my profit for that first year was $35,447. That's a 55% profit margin. And for the first year in business, this is really strong. Anything over 50% is healthy, especially when you're just getting started or you're reinvesting in your business and testing things. So here's what actually worked in that first year. It definitely wasn't magic, viral growth, or paid ads that made a difference. It was launching the same program multiple times. It was relaunching quickly while momentum was in process. It was listening to students. It was creating new offers based on real need and building relationships through cohort experiences. You need to understand that each launch is data. Launch one teaches you what to refine. Launch two builds that efficiency, and launch three builds authority. And suddenly, you're not guessing anymore. You're building based on evidence. So here's what I want you to take away from this episode. My first year was not built on one perfect launch. It was built on repetition, iteration, momentum, and staying close to my students. By doing these things, it built coaching income, paid workshops, recurring launches, and eventually more sustainable revenue models. I can't wait to share with you what happened in year two in the next episode. But for today, I want you to remember this: launching is not a one time event, it's a learning system. And that's how purpose turns into impact.